Prabhupada was in Los Angeles and we were doing well, distributing lots of books, so we thought we'd go and see Prabhupada and tell him about it. And all of us, I got this idea that we should memorize a verse in Sanskrit, because not many people were into Sanskrit at that time. I thought we should offer a prayer to him. So we came in to see Srila Prabhupada about lunchtime, and we offered him this prayer, Tvam na sandarsito dushtaram nistitir satam kaling satvarham harang pung sankarnadara ibarnavam, that we think that your goodness is met by us by the will of Providence, just to accept you as the captain of the ship. So, again, it was funny, I don't know. Krishna's right, I curse myself now, but Prabhupada asked us to take lunch with him. And I thought, no, we want to get back out and distribute more books, Prabhupada. So we missed another opportunity.
My marriage was opposed by my parents. They were horrified at the idea that I was going to marry the movement. You know, they refused to come to attend. And my mother had sent a telegram to Prabhupada that I had a history of mental illness. Totally untrue. Or maybe true, but not to my knowledge. And that she was very angry and wrote a very angry letter to Prabhupada saying, a telegram actually, this was the day before marriage, that this was, that I didn't see the telegram, but I heard about it. Prabhupada called me in. This is my second interview with Prabhupada. Called me in, and right away he said, I received a telegram from your mother. She says you are crazy. Is this true? I thought about it and I thought, no. I said, I don't think so, Srila Prabhupada. But I suspect that she might be. Which was not a proper thing to say about one's mother in front of Prabhupada. Prabhupada never tolerated, generally did not tolerate disrespect to one's parents. There are other stories, but they're not my stories, so I mean. But I know there's a story about Brahmananda where he was made to bow down to his mother in front of Prabhupada, which is an interesting story, and there were others. But I had shown that kind of independence in front of Prabhupada. I wanted him to know that my mind was set, that, you know, that actually this whole process was a way of, you know, cutting the bonds of, you know, the family, the worldly family influence that might be there to stop me from doing that which I know I should wholeheartedly do, being guided by his wisdom and his kindness. So I said, but I think she might be, and I actually, you know, believed it. He laughed, very, you know, just a very hearty, heart-filled laugh. He said, ha ha ha. He said, well, that's all right. He said, if anyone asks, he said, I have not received this telegram.
Before the press conference, Prabhupada was speaking to the devotees. There were about 30 people there, I think. Most of us were very young. There were a lot of young kids there, maybe 17, 18 years old. So I arrived after everything was in process, and when I walked in, I had the illusion that, I organized this thing, this is Prabhupada. So I sort of made everyone move out of the way, and I went right up to the front. I came with another devotee named Ganeshama, who sat, in the entrance, near the entrance, very humbly, quietly. And I went right up, right near Prabhupada, and I sat down right next to him. And then there was one devotee named Lochananda. He was introducing everyone. He said, "Oh, and this is Hari Vilas Prabhupada, the president of the temple." So Prabhupada didn't look at me. And right away I felt bad. I said, why didn't he look at me? He mentioned my name. He didn't say anything. Didn't even look, didn't even nod. So I realized I must have done something wrong. And I was feeling bad that I pushed everyone out of the way to go sit up front. So, and Lochananda said, and that's Ganeshama in the back. He's the one that's translating your books. Prabhupada said, oh, where is he? Let him stand up. So Ganeshama stood up and he said, thank you very much. And So now I knew I had done something wrong. You know, I realized I must have been puffed up that, you know, why he didn't even look at me and he's acknowledging Ganesh Yama. So then they kept speaking a little more, and Prabhupada was thanking the devotees for participating in Krishna consciousness. Then finally there was news that we had just got a new temple. This was a major accomplishment. And Prabhupada said, where is it? And Lochanan said, it's a little bit out of town. So Prabhupada looked at me for the first time, and his look was very weighty, and I could barely look at him. You know, I felt, very, let's say, puffed up, and he had already put me down in a sense, and I was feeling very contrite about it. And then he said, so how far is the temple from Paris? So that question sort of shocked me, took me off balance, and I was thinking, well, it's not very far, Prabhupada. He said, oh, how far is it by car? I said, well, I'd say it's about 45 minutes. He said, oh, and by train? And then I was thinking, wow, why is he asking me these questions? And I was all confused. I said, oh, it's over an hour. He said, oh, so it's very far. I said, yes, Prabhupada, it's very far. Then I realized, my guru was correcting my imperfect intelligence and my illusions about myself. And I realized why I had accepted him as my spiritual master, because he was able to point out these things in a very, let's say, precise way. And I needed that. So I was very happy, humbled, but very happy at that time.
First Kumbh Mela, we were there. We were in a grand tent. It looked like a nomadic Bedouin tent. It was very large. Prabhupada was in there. We were all gathered, not all, but the so-called big guns, the people that... Again, it wasn't because he loved us more. It was because we were doing something, and it was reciprocation. Parenthetically, because before I forget it, we were on a train, and Prabhupada said, I do not love any devotee more than the other, just like Krishna reigns on the ocean. His mercy is throughout. Well, similarly, he said, Krishna loves all his devotees equally, but if someone steps towards him, he will reciprocate. He will show that love. So Prabhupada was showing great love to the people who were doing something. So the so-called leaders were there. And he asked us, how do you know Krishna is God? So somebody says, because it says so in the Bhagavad Gita. And Prabhupada says, someone can say that is just a book. And I said, because you say so, Prabhupada. He says, I am just old man. Someone will say, what does he know? He is old man. So we didn't know. So Prabhupada said, the answer is because you feel the ecstasy. You feel the bliss. You feel the nectar. The proof of the pudding is in the eating. And I thought, what a great answer, because I had many times felt the ecstasies. That's what kept me going. And Prabhupada. I was scholarly, but really my Krishna consciousness from the very beginning was interacting with Prabhupada.